People, Deluded, I'm back again. It's always a pleasure speaking with you lot. Now, you know, the season is done, at least in relation to the Premier League for Arsenal anyways. I know some people are still in Europe. We're still got the FA Cup final. Hopefully that's positive. But in Arsenal's case, we know recruitment is going to be a massive thing next season, you know, and I don't like to do these I actually don't like to do these transfer videos. I just feel I need to because you lot are always on to me. But yeah, man, it's that time where rumours are going to start hotting up when 98% of them generally are rubbish. And now 99% of them are going to be rubbish because people are going to clickbait. And we don't know how the market's going to react because people keep saying COVID, COVID, COVID. But some of the fees you see getting floated around, I know a lot of them are not upfront fees. But, you know, COVID's irrelevant then with all due respect from a footballing perspective. But let's go through some stuff. The first one actually has nothing per se to do with Arsenal, but as you lot know, we've been linked with Gabriel before, and it seems like the president of Lille keeps just trying to drive his price up, quite rightly so, and get the best offer for his player and make a calm, tidy profit. He's been linked with Arsenal, he's been linked with Chelsea, more so Chelsea. You know, I kind of hope we get him because, you know, he kind of more aligns with what Arsenal can do financially. You're hearing 30 million euros. You lot know me, I always say we need a centre-half. If we have no money, we'd imagine 30 euros isn't the most. We've done a little deal with Lille for Pepe, so they understand our situation and how we can put money together. On top of just looking like a decent player from what I've seen of him at Lille, I'm all for that. I don't think he's coming, but I think it's all for that. And he's played quite coy, people. He's also been linked with Napoli and Everton. But the president has said we have other offers for other players, but we have not had discussions with their agent. With Gabriel, we are discussing and we have agreed to let him depart. He will choose his next club over the course of this week. So again, you know, that's just driving the price up because he could be calling a bluff. There could be no offers. But if somebody hears that and say, all right, cool, let's put an offer in. Let's stop messing about and trying to haggle and drive a hard bargain, get them what they want. That's what it could be. You know, Napoli could be legit because you hear, you know, his teammate and Nigeria striker, Osimhen, he's being linked with Napoli as well for a mad fee. I've seen 60, I'm seeing 70 million, 80 as well, depending on what actually happens, but it's feasible for a double sweep if Napoli got the bans. So I would take him. Now, I'm tired of the Coutinho rumours, people, but let's go through them, man. Apparently, Arsenal are hoping they can tempt the Catalonian giants, Barcelona, into a swap deal. Barca are interested in Guendouzi, but would much rather receive cash for Coutinho to fund for priority targets. For what it's worth, Coutinho initially rejected Arsenal because it meant taking a pay cut. Important because Arsenal are not ready to pay his salary in full. Coutinho said no, but a few days later he asked Arsenal for an extension to make a decision to keep the doors open. And saying that as well, you know, he's been linked with everyone. He's being linked with a move back to Liverpool, and that could be an enticing proposition for Liverpool if they get a reduced fee or a loan where Barca supplement the majority of his wages. It could be decent. For Arsenal, of course, just on ability alone, I would take Coutinho, of course, man. He walks into our team, he gives us the creative thing we need. Would be quite the fall from grace, you know. I haven't seen, you know, only Rafa Benitez, you know. He went from, what, Real Madrid to, like, Newcastle in the same year or something like that. Quite a fall from grace. You can't go from Barcelona and Bayern Munich, the pinnacle of world football, to, you know, playing with these young players at Arsenal and fighting to be in the top six again. It'll be quite the fall from grace. For Arsenal, it'll be good. We clearly know his agent, you know. It depends on what we can do financially. Not too sure on what that would mean for the future of Ceballos, because are we going to, you know, are we going to make Ceballos and Partey permanent and bring in Coutinho and renew Aubameyang's deal? You'd be imagined to, you know, and talk about a centre-half with Mesut Ozil's contract. It's probably still it's probably a make-believe dream. Hopefully some of that happened, or even a quarter of what I've just said happened, but is what it is. For Coutinho, obviously, he's of the age where he needs to think about his piece. For me, if I'm Coutinho, I can't lie to you. I think Barca are going to sack their manager. I don't have any intel. That's just my comment as a football fan. If I'm Coutinho, small hope, you know. Small hope. I wouldn't be in a rush, because say they change the manager and he's like, I like Coutinho, and he gives him a chance again, because he's not a bad player. He hasn't played terrible for Barca. He just never found a place. You know, he wasn't even playing in his best role. Can't begrudge him for joining Barcelona. I wouldn't have turned them down. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. Obviously, if he stayed at Liverpool, potentially he's got a Premier League and a Champions League there for him, you know, or not, because again, didn't the Coutinho money fund Van Dijk and Alisson, you know? If Coutinho doesn't come in, Liverpool have to be a bit more smart. Now, they might have brought in a couple of other men that can do that job, but we don't know. We'll never know. You know, we can't predict the alternative realities. We can only deal with the facts. Is what it is. If they went Guendouzi, then Guendouzi would jump at that chance. You know, all right, cool, Arteta, you don't want to play me, I'm going to go Barca. He'd be around great players. He'd learn how to really play midfield. He'd understand what football really means. And I want Guendouzi to stay. If we can offer money plus Guendouzi for Coutinho, I wouldn't mind that if, the mind's made up that he's gone. I don't really believe this for what it's worth. I feel if we are going to sign him, it will be a loan where we supplement the wages. But I don't know. You have heard Arsenal are trying to offer players on loan, people. Apparently, the Catalans have offered 2 formulas to the Londoners: Philip Coutinho for Guendouzi or Arturo Vidal exchange people. Yeah, what's the thing called again? Google Translate is doing me dirty, but in a sense, people, we've also been offered the chance to offer Guendouzi for Vidal or Ivan Rakitic. Now, I wouldn't mind Rakitic for 2 years or so, but I don't think it would be worth it, man. We might as well just sell Guendouzi outright and make a little profit on the 8 million we spent on him outright. So we'll see what happens in that regards. But apparently Arteta loves him, and apparently the London club has taken the necessary steps. Leicester and Spurs are also monitoring it, and they've also crucially currently qualified for Europe. We don't know our situation until it's confirmed we're not in the Europa League, because there's still a possibility that we'll get that 30 million quid. If we don't, obviously the situation is even more bleak, so we'll have to be even more creative as we manoeuvre in the market, people. Apparently, Abidal is apparently leading the negotiations on Barca's behalf. He's already spoken with Guendouzi, and they've already proposed a deal for such people. So we'll have to see how that one goes. It's more of the same, but as you lot know, Mikel Arteta wants a midfielder. Apparently he wants to add a box-to-box midfielder to his ranks. Ben Rama has been linked with Arsenal again. Apparently he's rated at 30 million by Brentford, who, they're going to need to fix up against Swansea in the second leg if they want Premier League football, and probably keep him for a year or so. 30 million, that might be something Arsenal's doing, but for me, on one hand, I believe we've got money. On the other hand, when I see our financial situation, I kind of bulk at that. Anything past 15 million for me in general now, for all these players, I'm starting looking at it with a degree of pessimism, and I hope that's not the case, because, we went and signed Pepe last year and we were told we had no money. Yes, it's being structured a certain sort of way, but you get the point. Elsewhere, apparently Sokratis has told Arsenal he will not leave despite a lack of football, and has told Arteta he'll fight for his place. And to be fair, it's quite the fall from grace, because you're not getting a look in. Holding's been terrible. Arteta must really not want to mess with you to not play him in. He's seen fullbacks play in his position ahead of him. I think he likes Sokratis as a person. I think it's a bit like Torreira. On top of Sokratis being of the wrong age, just not being first choice, I don't think he's good enough on the ball for what Arteta wants to do. He actually quite a problem there. Previously, Sokratis did say he'd sit on the bench, but at 32, with the global epidemic with COVID, it might be worth him waiting out a year and just sitting on this deal at Arsenal, collecting his wages, and then evaluating his situation. And for Arsenal, it's a difficult one, because if Mustafi really is out for to the start of next season, it probably puts him being sold in the potential hope of people just taking a chance on him, because the best form he's ever been in recent years, that's out the window. So he stays. Sokratis stays. We've got Marie, who, we're yet to really see Marie's full level. You've got Holding, who I still want to keep and stuff, but I'm admittedly firmly in the as soon as you don't know, I'm a big fan of Holding, but during his time here, this is the most I've been on selling him, like a certain offer, and I'll drive him there myself right now. We've got hella centre halves, and there's question marks over all of them. The only one I've got time for really and truly is Saliba, because he's young and he's not been involved in this fuckery that we've been doing this season, really. So we'll see what happens. But for Arsenal, this is where we've got to dig our heels in and kind of force people off the wage structure, because in isolation, Sokratis isn't bad, but you've got Sokratis, El Nene, Kolasinac, Mesut Ozil, still on the wage books, and you need to get rid of them, in addition to potentially selling Torreira if they want. He doesn't fit. Guendouzi for his attitude issues. Apparently, Balogun at under 23's level rejected a 5 million bid from Brentford. Can we get a 5-10 million for Balogun, or even offer him in Ben Rama negotiations to drop down the price and things like that? If he brings in a 10-15 for a player that hasn't played for our team, and I believe he's got all the potential in the world, it's a decent profit. And then you've got the Osse Tutus and a couple of others that could potentially be sold as well. So we'll have to see what happens in that regards, people. But for now, nothing more to add. People, DG, I'm out. It's always a pleasure.